guys, welcome to Charmy's Bookcase, where I, Charmy Terrell, review and discuss books I've read. This week I will be discussing All of Us Villains, a young adult fantasy novel written by Amanda Foody and Christine Lynn Herman. If Harry Potter and the Hunger Games had a child, it would be this book. Literally. Just Hunger Games but with magic. I really enjoyed reading this book. Anything with magic and you know I'm in. This video is my in-depth review of the book and will contain spoilers. If you plan on reading the book and don't want to be told about the plot, I suggest stop watching the video now. Without further ado, let's get into it. To start, there are two types of magic in this world. High magic and common magic. But the overuse of high magic led to its depletion, which leads to our story. In the small town of Ivernath, a blood moon occurs every 20 years. The moon signals that the tournament is approaching. Hundreds of years ago, 7 families had clashed over who could control Ivernath's high magic, resulting in a compromise where the 7 families must each put up a champion to fight to the death for control over the high magic of the city. Their control over the high magic expires at the beginning of the next cycle. The tournament is small, with only the citizens even knowing about it, but the information gets leaked from a book that was published about the tournament, exposing its bloody past and forcing all the 7 families into the spotlight. Once it became public, many people came out against the competition, protesting and attacking the families, shaming them for being part of a sadistic tradition. The 7 families involved are the Lowes, the McCaslins, the Greaves, the Thornberrys, the Paynes, the Darrows, and the Blairs. We only follow one member of 4 of the 7 families, leaving 3 contestants out. I kinda wish we could see the other point of views of the other contestants, but I can see how that'd be very difficult to write. 7 different point of views in one book would be hard to write. Isabel McCaslin is the first contestant to be thrust into the limelight. She has a complicated relationship with her dad, who completely ignores her until her name is linked to be their family's champion. Desperate to impress her father, she does whatever he says, even if in her heart she truly doesn't want to. Her and her father go see Reed McTavish, a curse maker, to load up on spells and curses before the fight. As soon as Reed was introduced, I knew he was going to be a problem. He puts together a spell passed through Isabel's family, the Roach's Armor. While in his shop, she steals one of his spells, called the Reaper's Embrace. The names of the spells in these books are a hit and miss for me. I do like that the names are actually named and not just some characters waving their hands around in the air and things happen. I would say the magic system in this world is very complicated, with a class system that ranges from 1 to 10 with each spell, class 1 being the weakest and class 10 being the strongest. Only the most skilled spellcasters can cast a class 10 spell. Although magic flows through everyone, magic can also be found around the world and stored in jewels and crystals that are crafted into spells and curses. Spells and curses can be sealed in necklaces, rings, and other objects. Though once used, you need to replenish the object with more magic to use it again. The recipes to craft curses and spells are very complex in this book, using figures like the pentagram and herbs, which is an aspect I really liked about this book. Another contestant we follow is Bryony Thornberry, Isabel's ex-best friend, and the one who leaked Isabel's name to the press. She is very self-centered and egotistical. Despite this, she is my favorite character in this book. She is ready for the tournament. She studied and practiced most of all her family members, and believes that she will be chosen to be their champion. Her family makes a pact with the government for vast magical resources, and in return the government will have access to their high magic. But when it's revealed that her sister, Inez, is chosen to be the champion, Bryony becomes upset. She is then visited by Reed, who appears out of nowhere like the limping dude from House of the Dragon. He puts the notion in her mind that the tournament can be ended once and for all. She soon becomes obsessed with ending the tournament and saving her sister's life. Reed is then visited by Gavin Grieve. The Grieves in general are the dark horse of the 7 families. They are often viewed as less than and primitive. Gavin is not only thought less than from his other opponents, but even from his own family, who neglect him and talk about him as if he's already dead. But Gavin won't go silently. He reaches out to Reed as well, trying to get a leg up in the competition. Reed turns Gavin into his little experiment by turning him into a vessel, drawing magic from within to make his spells more powerful. Driven to prove himself and letting pride take over, he agrees to be his little experiment. The procedure is painful and results in an hourglass tattoo forming on his body. The last champion we follow is Aleister Lowe, the loner with the fucked up family, which is saying a lot since the Greaves are also on this list. The Lowe family have won the tournament the most. His family spends most of their time training up one kid, isolating them in a huge mansion far away from people. feeding him or her dark stories of evil creatures and that the idea of being the villain is a good thing. So when the time comes, it will be easier for them to kill when necessary and not hesitate to do so. The only good thing in Alistair's life is his older brother Hendry. Hendry is his only friend and confidant, who he loves more than anything. The secret to the Lobes' winning streak is a powerful curse that can only be made through a sacrifice. And guess who they sacrifice? Little Hendry. Alistair's only reason for living and winning the tournament. After discovering Hendry's death, Alistair resigns himself to die, not caring about the tournament, which I don't blame him. The other 3 champions that we don't have a point of view on is Eleanor Payne, who has major anger issues. She was very one-dimensional for me. She was angry for no reason and always yelling at somebody. Then there's Carby Darrow, Eleanor's cousin, a shy and reserved boy. And lastly, Finley Blair, Bryony's ex-boyfriend. The tournament doesn't start till halfway through the book, but hours before the tournament, Isabel tries to create the Reaper's Embrace, but it backfires and she loses her ability to perform or even feel magic. Before the tournament begins, each contestant must write their names on a magical pillar, sealing their lives to the tournament. And when one dies, their names are crossed out. Bryony, desperate to end the tournament and to save her sister, attacks her sister and takes her place, causing cracks in the curse to form. Alistair gets drunk, and Gavin is the only one who seems to be ready for the tournament, though he's unaware how becoming a vessel is more of a burden than a plus. The tournament is set on a septogram, with 7 landmarks, powerful strongholds imbued with unique high magic. The 7 landmarks are the cave, the tower, the monastery, the castle, the cottage, the crypt, and the mill. The tournament lasts for 3 months, which in my opinion is a very long time, with powerful magical relics falling from the sky periodically. Bryony puts together that you must match each relic to the appropriate landmark to destroy the pillar, the source of the magic's power inside, therefore destroying the curse. I had a hard time believing she was the only one to figure this out. Like past generations were either blind or desperate for high magic that they'd rather kill their own to keep it. Bryony spends most of the book trying to convince the others of her plan, trying to get the relics to prove her point while also finding the other opponents. An alliance is formed between Carby, Eleanor, and Finley that Bryony joined. Gavin stays a lone wolf, attacking from the shadows, but comes to realize that by making himself a vessel was his biggest mistake. He can't control his magic anymore, and he is overwhelmed with immense pain every time he uses it. Plus, the sand from his hourglass tattoo begins to deplete, symbolizing his own magic draining from his body. No more life magic, no more life. However, his ability does allow him to exit the arena, which he shouldn't be able to do, and he does so to meet up with Reed. Isabel and Alistair make an alliance. The curse makers that supplied Alistair with spells gave him faulty ones to ensure his demise. Isabel promised to help him fix his spells in exchange for him helping her fix this curse she placed on herself, because the spell was a class 10 spell and only Alistair can perform such a task. Their time together resulted in a romance blooming. I thought the romance was very cute. Alistair the loner finally has a companion that isn't his brother for once. Throughout the book, we are told that Alistair is this amazing beast in a fight. Ruthless and cunning, but he's nothing like that. Yes, he's powerful, but clumsy as hell. He's worse than Bella Swan. I can't put up a man who can't put 2 steps together. Man, you are fighting for your life. Stop falling over pebbles and running into trees. In the first week, no one has been killed. 2 relics have fallen, the sword and the cloak. Finley gets the sword, while in the fight, Alistair gets the cloak. Alistair helps Isabel get her magic back by sacrificing himself and giving his blood over to her, finishing her spell. In return, she casts a healing spell to heal his wounds, saving him. Bryony's alliance with the others ends when she kills Carby in self-defense. If you were expecting a bloodbath like in Hunger Games, I'm sorry, but this book does not give you that. I mean, come on, there are only 7 tributes and there are 2 books. People aren't going to be dying left and right. But when a death does occur, I do say it is gory. Bryony kills Carby by reflecting his own spell back at him, resulting in arrows ripping him apart. They go through his eyes, his body, all over. The description is gruesome. After that, Bryony sides with Gavin, after Finley doesn't trust her anymore for Carby's death, which is understandable. Bryony and Gavin meet up with Alistair and Isabel, and the main 4 make an alliance. Bryony tells them of her plan to get rid of the curse, and of course no one believes her. They use the truth spell, which is the most common spell used in this book. Like, this spell comes up multiple times, and even when they use it, they still don't believe them. The Fab Four spend a night together, where Alistair gets drunk and tells what happens to Hendry to Gavin. Gavin, intimidated and fearful by the powerful spell, forces Alistair to give up the spell by planting it into the ground. doing so releasing the spell into the earth and therefore into the tournament. The group still doesn't trust Bryony, so again she must switch sides, leading her back to Finley, who finally helps her in her quest. I do get why they wouldn't trust her, but as a tribute, I would try to find a better way to win the tournament. So I would have made a truce, doing it Bryony's way. If she was wrong, then we can go back to killing each other. But if she's white, we have a better way of getting out of here alive. While the third relic, the mirror, falls from the sky, Bryony and Finley go to the cave to put Bryony's theory to the test. They use the sword to destroy the cave's pillar, causing one of the best scenes in the book. The cave defends itself, which I love, dropping swords from the ceilings to kill them. Not only that, but blood also comes into the room, filling it up. They use a mirrored image to find the real sword and destroy it with the pillar, causing the cave to collapse. Destroying the landmark caused more cracks to occur in the curse. While Bryony and Finley dealt with the cave, the others fought over the mirror. They see that Bryony's theory is working. The veil separating the arena from the outside world has a hole in it now. Not only that, but Hendry comes back from the dead. His spirit is held together by the magic of the tournament's curse. Since Alistair put the curse that he sealed his brother's death in into the tournament's ground. As long as the tournament is alive, so is his brother. After reading that, I was like, damn, Alistair is gonna switch on them. And sure enough, he does. I get he didn't want to lose his brother again. But unfortunately, Eleanor gets angry and attacks Hendry, which I thought was weird. I don't know about you, but if I saw someone come back from the dead, I don't immediately kill it. Unless it's a zombie. Alistair kills Eleanor by tearing her apart, and all hopes for alliance is thrown out the window. The curse is breaking from all the rule breaking. And I was like, what rule breaking? There were 3 cracks, so there was 3 rules that were broken, and I couldn't really remember which ones, but apparently it was when Bryony took Enid's place, which I get. Alistair planting the ring into the ground, which I don't really get how that breaks the rules, and also how Alistair was sacrificing himself for Isabel, which I felt was a personal choice, so it shouldn't really be breaking the rules. There is a safe way to break the curse, and a dangerous way. All the rule breaking has caused the curse to break down, and if they continues this way, the curse will collapse, killing everyone inside, causing the others to try to break the tournament Bryony's way, the safe way. However, breaking the curse will get rid of Hendry, and Alistair is against it. Seeing no other choice, he goes apeshit and starts firing spells at everyone. I think it's kinda weird that this is the one time his clumsiness doesn't get in his way. Alistair accidentally hits Isabel with a killing curse, killing her instantly, but her family's spell brings her back to life. In doing so, she curses Alistair right back, with the Reaper's embrace by kissing him. This all happens outside the arena in front of reporters and paparazzi, causing them all to scatter. Isabel, Finley, and Bryony goes to see Reed, to question him about the tournament. Ever since her death and resurrection, Isabel hasn't been feeling right. She stays behind to rest while the other 2 go back to the tournament. Once alone with Reed, Isabel figures out that he was the one who wrote the book exposing the tournament to the world. He knocks her out with a spell. Gavin, in the meantime, finds the spellcaster who rejected him and kidnaps him, locking him in a dungeon to be tortured. This book has one of the best endings ever. Alistair goes back with his family with his dead brother by his side, and he kills his entire family. Reading that, my mouth literally dropped. Overall, I give the book a 3.5 stars. I like the story overall and highly recommend it to everyone, but it did drag a little for me. I will be discussing its sequel, All of Our Demise, in the next video. Tell me what you thought about this book. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel and hit that bell to be notified every time we drop new content. Bye!